What do you see in your physical eyes and what do you see in your mental eyes? Because what you see is going to determine what you become and where you go. It is all in having a vision. Me and my mother were sitting around the other day having a conversation about a family that we knew. They had gone through generational poverty. It started out this family with the great grandmother had a little old shotgun shack house, and her daughter moved in with her. Well, as time went on, the daughter had a daughter, and the daughter, all three of them lived together: the grandma, the mom, and the daughter. Time passed. The daughter of the daughter had a daughter and a son. And they all continued to live in the same little shotgun house that had very little running water and no bathroom. And I'm not talking about a family from way back when. I'm talking about a family from right now. Well, lo and behold, the original mom died. Then the grandma died. And then now mom and her kids are still living in the house. The daughter that she had is now also an adult, but they're all still living in the original house. The house that has been there for, I know, well, before I was once, it's got to have been there about 70 years. They are still making do with what they have. No one has made any progress, and I don't think it's ever dawned on them, hey, we can move somewhere else. Uh, there has been an addition added on. There has been a bathroom added, but the family did not add the bathroom. The neighbors added the bathroom to the house. And my mom was saying, I looked like somebody would help them, which somebody did because they added the bathroom. But I had to tell her, I said, you know what? At this point, it's not about, because they work. They all have jobs and buy cars. I said, at this point, it's not about someone else helping them. It is about them helping themselves. It is what they see. I said, Mom, you have to stop understand is what their perspective is. If you can't see any further than your front porch, if you can't see anywhere past where you are right now, then you're never going to get past that stage in life. You have to see other things. This is where it comes in to surrounding yourself with people who are positive, with people who are what you want to become yourself. And I'm not just saying surround yourself with rich people or surround yourself with people who have more than other people. What I'm telling you to do is if you know where you are going, if you have a vision for your life, then you want to surround yourself with other people that have a vision for their lives. Because again, it is what we see with our natural eyes. It is what we see in our minds, mental eyes, our spiritual eyes, that is going to determine where we go and what we become. We have to change our perspective on life. We have to think positive. We have to see positive. And even if this is not our normal, then we have to make it normal for us. If it's not normal for you to be around people that are prosperous or they have a prosperity mindset, then it's time to make an addition to your friends. I said in another video to declutter. We have to declutter our minds. We need to declutter our friends. And yes, it's time to declutter. It's time to get rid of the old, take the old trash out, and begin to replace it with new things. We need to declutter. We need to change our perspective. And the only way we're going to do that, like I said, is for us to surround ourselves with people who are what we want to become and with positive people. I was reading a book and I'll tell you what it is. It's Inmate 46857. This guy was locked up in Parchment, Mississippi, and he talks about how they were raised poor and they had nothing. He said they wasn't just poor, they were poor. So in the book, he goes on and talks about how God changed his life. But at first, he talks about being stuck in, I think it's the Delta, Mississippi, and all he saw around himself was poor people. So there was no opportunity for change because that's all he saw. It is only when we change our perspective, it's only when we change what we see every day that we can change who we are and what we become. Another book that I am also reading, because I like to read more than one book at a time, is Perspective. And this is by another Mississippi guy. It's Tommy Marbury. Tommy talks about growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, growing up being poor, growing up with a survival mentality. Survival of the fittest. You have to hustle life, because book Tommy Marbury talks about having to survive, having a survival instinct, and how when you're trying to make it, you're trying to survive, trying to just live, and education is not important to you. It is only after the student's perspective changes and the teacher's perspective change can there be any real progress. And so these are 2 books, Perspective and Inmate 4685, both by men, both from Mississippi, both talk about growing up poor, and both talk about how they had to change their perspective, how someone had to reach out to them for them to make a change. Be sure you grab a copy and read these. Highly recommend them. But we have to change what we see. It is only after we change our belief that we are not going anywhere, nothing good is happening, that all I can do is work these little mediocre jobs. Then it's only after we stop seeing that we can begin to prosper. As I said, the guy in this book began to talk about how when he looked around at jobs and the things that were going on in his area, everybody had these little mediocre jobs and they weren't going anywhere. There was no way. He talked about his dad having 3 jobs, his mom working 2 jobs, and how sometimes they had nothing to eat. But we can't allow our present circumstances to dictate where we're going. We're not going to stay stuck in that rut, because it all begins with us. It all begins with our mindset. Where do we see ourselves going? What do we see ourselves doing? And here on Hey Sister by Two Cute Sisters, one of the things I like to emphasize is that we have the power. Yes, you have the power. You're not powerless. As I said in my other video, you determine whether you have a better life. It can be hard to do. It can be hard to keep sitting there saying, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. But every day you get up and you tell yourself, when you look in that mirror, you say, I'm going further today than I went yesterday. I thank you, God. I thank you, universe. For me, it's God, for what you're about to do. I thank you that these things are coming into existence for me. And I begin to speak them till I see them. We cannot sit here and let what happened in the past or what we're looking at currently dictate to where we are going. And we are going somewhere. It is when we change what we see. And if you don't see a beautiful home in your future, go get you a picture off of the internet or somewhere, print it out, cut it out of a magazine, stick it on your refrigerator, stick it somewhere where you can see it. Write your goals down. Write them down so you can see them and visit them often. Write them down. It is only when we change what we see. It's only when we change our perspective that we can come out on top. That we can leave that poverty mindset. That we can leave that scarcity mindset. We can shift into a mindset of prosperity. And we can shift into a mindset of abundance. So I want us to remember that today. It is what we see. So if I always see it, friends that are drinking, smoking, hanging out, going to the club, who have no money in the bank account stays on negative, we have to change what we see. Very funny. I went and got a printout from my bank account. You know how you go to the ATM and they give you the little and tell you what your balance is. I printed it out and I put the amount. I didn't even look at the amount that was on the. I wrote on there what my checking account balance is going to start being, and that's going to be what the minimum is every time I go. So when I pass by, I stick it on my refrigerator so I can constantly look at it, constantly see it, and know that that is my reality. This other stuff, that's not my reality. My reality is that I'm going to be prosperous. I'm going to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that's the legacy I'm leaving for my children. And you leave one for yours too. Change your perspective. Change what you see. Start today. I thank you so much for listening to my ladies and to my gentlemen. Thank you, guys, for writing these books. Thank you, Eddie Charles Spencer. Thank you, Tommy Marbury. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next podcast.